Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta has been given as enlightenment for samsara already. Not attached even to the non-attachment itself, not grasping even for the non-grasping itself. All the searches are excessive, and it is endless if it is not stopped. Because there is the practice that is rejecting samsara, because there is no conclusion in the essence of the enlightenment, of cutting through the cutting itself. Everything is not attached even to the non-attachment itself. It is not about searching, and it's not about trying to begin or to end anything. There's the feelings of uneasiness inside of those who are practicing, unable to bless samsara. All the non-human beings, they don't understand about how to bless beings amidst samsara. Being amidst samsara have to use the essence of the enlightenment to conclude, to purify the attempt to dwell. Any sentences, use them, make a conclusion to purify being amidst everything without having someone amidst anything. Use any sentences of the reminders, not to purify only oneself, but samsara, purifying samsara simultaneously. That which has nothing to do with attachment or non-attachment for both oneself and samsara. Use any sentences to make a conclusion to purify being amidst anything, the attempt to dwell within oneself. Purify the ego that is being amidst anything. Purify it. Use the reminders, any sentences. It will purify the attempt to dwell and being amidst samsara. Nothing to do with attachment or non-attachment. All the same in this samsara. This will become one essence. Nothing is within attachment or non-attachment, within liberating or not liberating, within all these dualities. Use the reminders to purify the ego that is amidst samsara. It is not just purifying oneself alone, but samsara will be purified simultaneously. If there is oneself amidst samsara, one's gonna get hit only, because there is still oneself amidst everything in the way that is not about being amidst anything, amidst everything in the way that has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging. This will purify the ego self in the middle of samsara. Any sentences are to be used to purify and to be used for blessing all the time, purifying for both oneself and samsara simultaneously. Remind it often from not attached to the non-attachment itself. This will purify the ego in the middle of everything. The attempt to dwell will be purified. If there is still oneself in the middle of samsara, attempting to be, then it is difficult. Purify it instantly. Amidst in everything in the way that is not about someone in the middle of anything. Nothing is trying to be. That which has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging. Nothing is within relating or not relating, all the same with everything. The attempt to dwell, it is the desire that is making up. The attempt to dwell, to be, it is the desire that is made it up. Trying to be like this, like that. Trying to be with oneself, trying to be with samsara, it is the desire that is make it up. Purify it right away. That which has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging will purify this made up desire. Whether it is about oneself or samsara, there will be simultaneous purify for both. Use every sentence. You can choose any of them constantly. It will purify the attempt to be that is overlaying. The suffering, the difficulty is because of the attempt to be, not other things. What to do next, that is the desire that is deceiving. The great compassion is from each sentence, can be reminded for samsara. It will dissolve and help with the purification constantly. That is the blessing. Help through ending, help through ceasing, help through purifying, help through dissolving, help through ending. Each conclusion is to be used for the blessing, to help end for samsara. For not relating, it's not about relating or not relating. This will reduce the attempt to be until it is finishing, ending all this trying to be. This will be purification of emptiness without traces for samsara altogether. It's proceeding like this altogether with samsara. That which has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging, it will purify the attempt to be with oneself or with all things, will be simultaneously purified altogether. It is the same thing. Proceed simultaneously. That which has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging, that's all. That's all. Proceed like this altogether. Therefore, it's not about anything trying to be with anything already. This is purifying the cause of the suffering and the suffering for samsara already. Help to unwinding and releasing accordingly. That which has nothing to do with grasping or not grasping. It's not about grasping. Neither is about grasping or not grasping. Proceed with everything simultaneously, altogether. Everything is not grasping even for the non-grasping itself, as it is. Not attached even to the non-attachment, already as it is. This will purify the cause of the suffering and the suffering, purifying the attempt to be that is overlaying, which is the center of the cause of the suffering and the suffering of samsara. This is the one, the attempt to be. The perseverance, the practice is the same thing. It's from the attempt to be, the attempt to dwell, the desire. It is the cause of the suffering and the suffering itself. If you want to end the cause of the suffering and the suffering, it is at this point to end the attempt to be, the attempt to dwell. But you're trying to extinguish at the end result, trying to seize the end result, but it is not seizing the seizing itself. The attempt to seize, to end, is the cause of the suffering and the suffering. The attempt to extinguish itself is the cause of the suffering. It is extinguishing at the end result. It is not at the origin. That which has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging will end at the origin, at the cause. Everything has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging, attaching or not attaching, ceasing at the origin totally. Even non-attachment is not attached even to itself. Whether it is attachment or non-attachment, it is not relevant. That's it. Use it to help conclude for samsara, to help end for samsara continuously. Use it as a reminder constantly. This has nothing to do with grasping or not grasping, nothing to do with attachment or non-attachment, with everything. Not attached for both attachment or non-attachment. Not attached for both attachment or non-attachment. Not grasping for both grasping or non-grasping. Not grasping for both grasping or non-grasping. Everything is not about grasping. That which has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging with everything simultaneously. There is natural cutting already, concluded with the essence of the enlightenment, natural cutting for samsara. This is different and nothing to do with searches and practices. The essence of the enlightenment is different than this. Otherwise, the Buddhas will teach, but practices cannot give enlightenment. But Buddhas use certain sentences for each one to help cut through for them. They don't teach and lead anyone to practice, instead refining the sentences to help giving ending for each group of beings. Proceed simultaneously with samsara is one thing. Samsara and oneself is one. It is the same samudaya, the same cause of the suffering. That's why it's the same thing. When we purify this same thing, because it's the same cause of the suffering and the suffering. When there is a conclusion to purify, it's purifying the same thing simultaneously. Use it for the blessing. All these sentences are to be used for blessing. use the essence of cutting diluted knowing or the enlightenment to purify. It has nothing to do with karmic difficulties of each one, more or less there are, or the differentiations, the differences there are in their karmic difficulties. The purification will purify for all. It is the same thing, the same cause, the same origin of the karmic difficulties from the attempt to be, the effort, the determination for attainment is the same cause. The essence of the enlightenment will cut everything automatically. That which has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging. This has nothing to do with cutting or not cutting. This is really true cutting. When there is nothing to do with cutting or not cutting, that's it. It's done for everything. Each sentence that is given is from the great compassion, is beyond cutting or not cutting already. Everything has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging. This is beyond cutting or not cutting. It is the great compassion of the purification of the emptiness without traces. It will affect samsara inside and outside simultaneously, purify simultaneously for both inside and outside of samsara. Nothing to do with engaging or disengaging, nothing to do with attachment or non-attachment, with everything. This will become boundless once it is unlocked. It is the great compassion that purifies samsara through the emptiness. That which has nothing to do with engaging or disengaging, it has nothing to do with body or mind, form or formlessness. It's not at anything. It is not at anything at all. It is not at oneself or at samsara or not at anything at all, but there is effect in purifying samsara altogether. It affects everything.